If you want to follow along with my examples, go ahead and download the support files that are located in the additional resources in the introduction video of each. Extract up at the top. Now once the folder is unzipped, we have 3 folders here in the poster example. So we have illustrations, we have some photos to work with, mostly JPEGs, but also a layered PSD Photoshop file, and one Word document. That's the text file that we'll place. I include the poster sample InDesign file. Now, if you have an earlier version of InDesign, then you can open up the IDML InDesign markup language file. But if you have the most recent version of Adobe InDesign Creative Cloud, then we should just open up the InDesign document. I also include the sample PDF here just to see an example of what we'll be working on as we learn these various techniques and workflows. In the lookbook project, I also have a bunch of photos to implement in the design, one Word document to place, and I also include a video. This is just from one of my trips to Colorado snowboarding, so we needed a video, and that relates to the topic of this fictional ski resort client because I go over how to embed video and also some interactive elements like hyperlinks and interactive buttons in InDesign in that section. I also have the InDesign file, the IDML file for earlier versions of InDesign, and also the PDF example. If you're looking at the PDF and it just only has one page at a time, we can go to View, and then Page Display, and then 2-page view, and also make sure Show Cover Page in 2-page view is checked. So the first page is just the cover, and the pages after that are groupings of 2, so they're 2-page spreads. And this lookbook has more text than a lot of lookbooks would because I wanted to cover text considerations as well. So we can create a brochure, we can create a lookbook, either way. But the idea is that it's featuring different visuals from some company. And in the annual report folder, which is the additional resource in the introduction video to the annual report project, of course, we have a spreadsheet because we have the complete guide to designing tables in InDesign in that project. I also have some photos to use, including some layered PSD files, JPEGs, and even a PDF file because we'll be going over using Photoshop and Illustrator with InDesign and what kind of files we need to place depending on the content that we have. I also have some illustrations in there, like the streetlights illustration I designed years ago and some infographics that we can place. And I have the final design as an example. And then I also have the annual report InDesign file for when I'm going over the Adobe workflow using Photoshop and Illustrator with InDesign. And I also have the example from the table section and the very first file that we can open, just annual report, that has a few place shapes and photos, for example, to get started. And I have the PDF example, of course, just as an example to show some ideas for that project. So we'll be going over placing partially transparent PSD files, designing and adjusting tables, adding illustrations, special techniques like clipping masks and opacity in images, and there's an advanced guide to color in that project as well that we'll be going over. So those are the support files for this class. Make sure to download those at the beginning of each project if you want to follow along with my examples. Of course, you can use photos that you've taken if you have a different project that you're working on and you're just learning the techniques. But let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.